Clinton campaign, accusing the Associated Press of media bias. The AP investigation revealing that more than half of the people outside of the government who met with Secretary Hillary Clinton during her tenure at the State Department donated either personally or through companies or groups to the Clinton Foundation. This raises flags of pay to play. Republican nominee Donald Trump saying Clinton is making a mockery of the U.S. Listen.
It's disgusting. It shouldn't be allowed. What's going on with Hillary Clinton, there is no justice in this country. There is no justice in this country. Zero. And for her to have the privilege or the right to run for president with what she's done, with deleting 33,000 emails, you can imagine what was on those emails. It is so sad, and the whole world is looking, and the whole world is laughing at the United States.
Is the Clinton campaign's claim of media bias valid? Let's bring in Dan Gainor, Vice President of Business and Culture at Media Research Center. This is something that we have been hearing from Donald Trump and his campaign throughout the campaign. Is there something to it?
No, this is classic Clinton dodgeball. In their game, everybody gets hit but her. You know, they've been dodging the ethics issues of the Clinton Foundation for years. One story bounces out. Their team's argument is that, oh, the AP is not playing fair. In reality, even the Huffington Post said they should shut down the Clinton Foundation, but the Clintons don't want to give up $2 billion worth of pork from their piggy bank.
Julia Roginski is on set this morning. Dare I open that can of worms?
You can. I mean, look, I have no idea what the reality here is. What the Clinton campaign was pointing out, which was conveniently omitted, is the fact that this AP report never pointed out that she or tallied any of the foreign dignitaries she met with, the foreign diplomats she met with, that there's a whole chunk of her schedule that was omitted from analysis. Only half of her tenure was looked at. So, you know, I don't know what the reality is, but it would have been helpful to look at the full picture and then come to our conclusion.
Well, you're talking about the schedule. Isn't that because she controlled her schedule and they destroyed it and we never got it? I mean, she wasn't transparent.
Her public schedule, I suspect, or at least they should release it if that's the case to back up what they're saying, is that her public schedule, any meetings she may have had with foreign diplomats, would have been on her schedule, so she didn't destroy that aspect of it. I'd love to see all of it. I'd love to see the full totality of what her schedule entailed and then draw conclusions. Maybe the AP's analysis is correct. Maybe it's not. But if you're only looking at a certain subset of what you want to find, you're going to find what you want to find.
All right, Dan, well, here's what the Clinton campaign put out on the statement, their statement to the AP investigation. Here's a portion of it, at least. This story relies on utterly flawed data. It cherry-picked a limited subset of Secretary Clinton's schedule to give a distorted portrayal of how often she crossed paths with individuals connected to charitable donations to the Clinton Foundation. They went on to say it omits more than 1,700 meetings that she took with world leaders. Dan, how can the Clinton campaign square perception of pay to play with voters? Is it possible, and does it matter with their voters?
Well, I mean, I think it does matter with voters, not that it's gotten a lot of media coverage. We checked back in May, the ABC, CBS, and NBC had done less than 5 minutes on the Clinton Foundation.
It's nuts.
But you know, by comparison, Donald Trump, a decades-old allegation of Donald Trump pretending to be his own PR guy, got 8 times the coverage. So I mean, the Clinton, the more this gets out, now close to the election, Clinton should have to answer all the allegations of pay for play, because if she doesn't, then, you know, basically we don't get any answers for the fact that they ran a foundation while she was Secretary of State that was getting $2 billion, including at least $25 million from nations that either lock up or execute gay people.
Julie, I want to point out something, though, because we always, and you've heard me say this before, you can't look at these, like this AP story, which was great reporting on their part, could have been broader, absolutely. But you can't look at them in isolation if you're looking at it in terms of politics. That it's this, and it's the revelation of the emails that Judicial Watch just released, that for the first time showed a direct link between the Clinton Foundation and Secretary of State Clinton meeting with a donor and the foundation, essentially helping arrange that sit down with her. So again, it's the pile-on. If you're a political strategist, it's one step and another and another and another, and at some some point, does it hurt her?
Well, look, first of all, I've said from the beginning that they should have shut that foundation down the minute she became Secretary of State. I might go further and say they never should have started it because she was in the Senate and had the ability to vote on issues where donors to the foundation from day one were being affected. So I've never defended the foundation.
All right.
What I am defending, however, is the fact that this AP report needs to be much broader, much more total in its scope, and then let's take a look and draw our conclusions. And right now I don't see that there's any conclusions being drawn other than the inference that the AP is making based on a very limited subset of data.
All right, well, emotions are riding high because there's been some Twitter fights breaking out over this. One in particular between former GE chairman and CEO Jack Welch and billionaire investor Mark Cuban over the Clinton Foundation. Here's Jack Welch's tweet. Hate to see my old acquaintance at Austin Goolsbee having to defend illegal pay-to-play of Clinton State Department foundation at Megyn Kelly. All right, so Mark Cuban chimed in with a few tweets of his own. Here's one of them. At Jack Welch, at Austin Goolsbee, at Megyn Kelly. You know what it's like to be falsely accused. Shouldn't you back up accusations with facts? All right. Who dare I go to with this one? What's your take, Dan, on this Twitter feud?
Well, I mean, Mark Cuban has clearly decided to be one of the attack dogs for the aspiring Clinton Foundation and Clinton presidency. But the reality here is that their side gets upset anytime they get any negative coverage, and they get so little, it's ridiculous. To give an example, Ron Claiborne from ABC the other day, he was doing a story on the New York Yankees. He had to out himself as a Yankee fan and even wear a Yankee hat. George Stephanopoulos does a story on the Clinton Foundation. He used to work for the Clintons. He gave $75 grand to the Clinton Foundation. You don't see him wearing a Clinton jersey with $75,000 on the back.
Oh, my gosh. All right, Dan Gainor, thank you so much for weighing in on that.